This next deficit hawk says regardless of who's in Washington, the U.S. is heading toward a massive economic disaster.
David Stockman is the former budget director under President Ronald Reagan, and he joins us now. Well, David, of all days to say that, right. Dow 13,000, the first time in 3 years, almost 4 years that we've had. You think this is a suckers rally, don't you?
I think this is a hideous suckers rally, the worst to ever come down the pike. This market is now not only unsafe for widows and orphans, but I think it may be dangerous for robots and algos, too. I mean, this is a hopium levitation that got us back to where we were in May.
Hopium, as in Hopi Indians.
Hopium,
yes.
Where we were in May 2008. But now we have far worse headwinds everywhere in the world coming at us than we had then. Then we had this borrowing spree. We borrowed $5 trillion and medicated the economy for a little while. This time we're heading for a brick wall in December in the lame duck session when all these tax cuts expire, when this tax holiday expires, when the unemployment expires, all the tax credits expire. It's a $7 trillion hit over a decade to the economy if everything expires. On the other hand, if they extend everything, massive increases in the debt ceiling, and there are no votes to pass a debt ceiling.
Thanks for coming, David. What's the answer? I mean, you're saying don't extend the tax cuts that are going to expire, yet if we do, it's just furthering the pain that we will feel down the road. So what is the answer?
The answer is we're going to go through probably 4 years or a decade of austerity, and anyone who gets elected may wonder next January why he volunteered. We've been kicking these cans down the road. Literally, there's $600 billion worth of tax cuts that everybody is spending today, or unemployment insurance, or all of these other temporary programs, the $100 billion payroll tax holiday that we couldn't afford, but we put through and didn't fund. And that's just in the United States. But this is true around the world. Europe today is a wasteland of bankrupt sovereigns trying to prop up insolvent banks. They're leaning on each other, and it's not going to be a pretty outcome.
I agree with all of those scenarios in terms of where we are right now. But it's what you can't see. You used to work for the most optimistic man in the world, Ronald Reagan. And in the late 1970s, there was all this doom and gloom, limits to growth. Nobody saw any way out. Nobody was really looking at the numbers, but he did. And we're growing right now at anemic numbers. We could grow much stronger than what the U.S. economy is growing right now if the regulatory burdens were let go of the economy. So couldn't we grow our way out of this problem?
I don't think we could, because we've had a 30-year party. We've buried the economy in debt like was unimaginable in 1980. Then we had a $3 trillion economy, $5 trillion of debt, not too bad. Now a $15 trillion economy, $53 trillion of debt. The households are buried. Business has far more debt than people talk about in these daily shows, and that is fundamentally different. Secondly, then we had an industrial economy that could be revived. Since then, we have basically exported, offshored our entire industrial economy. We lost 6 million middle-class jobs in manufacturing and other tradable goods since the peak in 2007. And even though we've had a recovery, we've gained no jobs in the middle-class economy. All the jobs that they talk about every month in the employment report are part-time jobs for the most part. So therefore, we're in a totally different circumstance. It's not morning again in America. It's getting near sundown, and we're not even paying our bills. Okay?
Wow. I swear I'm hiding behind David.
She's not going to come out for the next year or so.
Well, I mean, we'll have you back.
None of the politicians out in Michigan or elsewhere are even remotely telling people what the true facts are. Romney, for instance, has $7 billion worth of tax cuts on top of what's already in the code, and he doesn't have half enough spending cuts to even offset the tax cuts, to say nothing of the deficit. And Romney's the more responsible one. Gingrich is crazy.
Well, before anybody out there shoots themselves, we got to cut this off. But we love your point of view, as depressing as it sometimes is. Please come back and see us again
with solutions, please. Next
we'll do
time.
That.
Yeah,
we'll do that.
Good.
Cyanide, anyone? All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David Stockman, former White House.